You can feel it before it happens. Have you been feeling different lately, like your heart is preparing for something sacred? You're not imagining it. Sometimes, before Allah gives you something big, He whispers it into your soul first. And marriage? That's not just a union between two people. It's a gift, a responsibility, a mercy from Allah. So how do you know when it's near? Here are 7 signs, based on Islamic principles and personal spiritual shifts, that your marriage could be closer than you think. Stay until the end, because sign 7 is the one most people overlook. Sign 1. You no longer beg for love, you ask Allah instead. Before, you may have searched for love in people. You begged for attention, hoped someone would choose you. But now, you turn to Allah. You find yourself whispering, Ya Allah, if it's written for me, bring it to me with ease. Your du'as become calm, not desperate. You don't chase anyone, because you know the one who writes hearts is already listening. That shift in your soul, it's not weakness, it's readiness. Sign 2. Your past no longer controls you. You've stopped replaying the heartbreaks. You don't cry over the people who left, not because you forgot, but because you finally understand they were never meant to stay. Allah had to remove what was wrong so He could make space for what's right. The peace you feel about your past now, it's a sign your heart has been cleaned to carry a new kind of love. Sign 3. You're becoming who you want to marry. You stop waiting for someone else to bring you peace, because you're learning how to build it within yourself. You stop searching for the perfect person to show up. Instead, you start becoming the kind of person you once prayed to find. You begin to realize something profound. Marriage is not about being rescued. It's about being ready, emotionally, spiritually, and mentally. So you start asking better questions. Not who will love me, but am I someone easy to love? Not who will guide me, but am I guiding myself toward what pleases Allah? You catch yourself in small moments. When you're tired, do you still pray? When you're angry, do you still speak with mercy? When you feel unseen, do you still act with sincerity? You begin working on your character in silence, not to impress anyone, but because you want your future spouse to meet someone who has already done the deep, unseen work. You understand that what you attract reflects who you are. You want someone kind, so you practice kindness. You want someone patient, so you test your own patience. You want someone with taqwa, so you build yours step by step. This kind of growth isn't always glamorous. It's waking up for Fajr when no one sees. It's lowering your gaze when no one will find out. It's making wudu after a long day, and still showing up for prayer. It's deleting contacts you know don't help your soul. Fixing your habits, setting boundaries, holding yourself accountable, even in private. And when you do slip, because you will, you seek forgiveness, not perfection. You dust yourself off and keep going, because growth isn't about never falling. It's about getting back up with more sincerity than before. This sign doesn't scream loudly. It doesn't post about transformation, but it shows. In the way your heart softens, your intentions purify, and your life begins to reflect the kind of marriage you're asking for. Because when you stop waiting for someone to complete you, and start completing the parts of yourself that Allah already gave you, you are no longer just hoping for a righteous spouse. You are preparing to receive one. And that kind of readiness, it doesn't go unnoticed, not by the people around you, and certainly not by the one who is writing your love story from the unseen. Sign 4. People are being removed, quietly and suddenly. It doesn't begin with a dramatic goodbye. There's no loud argument, no final message that explains everything. It just happens. A person you once spoke to every day suddenly becomes a stranger. Someone who used to check in, make plans, laugh with you, fades out like mist in the morning sun. You send a message. It's seen, but not answered. You call. It rings, but they never call back. You wonder if you imagined the bond you had, if maybe you misread it all. At first, it hurts. You sit with the confusion. You ask yourself, did I change? Did I do something wrong? You rewind conversations in your head trying to figure out the exact moment things started to shift. But the truth is, there often is no moment. Because this isn't about what you did wrong. It's about what Allah is making right. As the days pass, something even more surprising arrives. Peace. Not the kind that comes from understanding everything, but the kind that comes from no longer needing to. Your heart stops grasping. You stop chasing closure. You start to realize this isn't rejection. This is redirection. Allah is stepping in, silently, mercifully. And He's clearing your space, not to punish you, but to protect the person you're still becoming. Because when a huge blessing is on the way, like marriage, Allah doesn't just shape your character. He shapes your surroundings. Why? Because your environment is part of your preparation. Your friends shape your thoughts. Your circle influences your habits. And the voices around you echo into your soul, affecting how you think, how you speak, and how you live. So when Allah removes people from your life, whether through misunderstandings, distance, or silence, understand this. It's not always about who they are. It's about where you're going. Not everyone is meant to walk with you there. Some people were part of your past lessons, but not your future blessings. Some were sent to help you grow, and once you grew, their role was complete. Some were never meant to stay forever, just long enough to teach you what love isn't, what loyalty should look like, what boundaries actually mean. So don't cling to people. Allah is don't beg Him to keep what He's protecting you from. If it's slipping from your hands without you forcing it, let it go, not out of bitterness, but out of trust. Yes, it's lonely. You miss the memories, the inside jokes, the comfort. But this loneliness, it's not a punishment. It's a sacred pause. It's in these quiet seasons that your relationship with Allah deepens the most. When no one else checks in, you begin to check in with Him. When no one texts you, you start talking to Him more, in sujood. And that's exactly the shift He wants. Because before He sends you a righteous spouse, He wants to make sure He is your first love, your first comfort, your first source of strength. So if you've been feeling distant from people lately, if your circle is getting smaller, your phone is quieter, your nights are lonelier, don't panic. Don't rush to fill the space. Don't force connections that Allah is gently fading. Instead, honor the silence. Use it to reflect. Use it to heal. Use it to prepare for something greater. Because when the right one enters, the one with sincerity, with iman, with the character you've prayed for, you'll understand why everyone else had to leave. You'll realize the friend who only encouraged distractions wasn't meant to witness your growth. The person who crossed boundaries again and again couldn't be part of your sacred peace. The group that made you doubt your deen, your goals, your worth, didn't belong in the future Allah is building for you. This isn't about blame. It's about alignment. Your next chapter requires a different energy, one rooted in values, not vibes, in truth, not talk, in faith, not followers. And when you look back at the texts that stopped, at the calls that never came, at the people who slowly faded, you'll smile, because you'll know they weren't losses. They were divine exits. Allah was never clearing people out to leave you empty. He was preparing the room for what's better. So let go with grace. Grieve if you must, but don't grip. Rest in the knowledge that the one who removes is also the one who provides. And when he brings someone who honors your presence, values your deen, and walks with you in sincerity, you'll understand the weight, the silence, the distance. It was never wasted. It was preparing you for something raw. Sign 5. Marriage keeps coming up, and it doesn't scare you anymore. It begins so quietly, you almost don't notice it. You're sitting with your family, just sipping tea, when someone casually says, "We should start thinking about your marriage." Before, that comment would have felt like pressure. It would have made your chest tighten, your thoughts spiral, your smile fade. You would have brushed it off, changed the subject, and spent the rest of the evening wondering if something was wrong with you. But this time, it doesn't sting. You still smile, but this time, it's genuine. You're not pretending to be okay. You are okay. And then you start noticing it everywhere. You scroll through your feed. Almost every other post is about love, Nikah, soulmates, divine timing. You watch a reel that talks about how someone met their spouse through patience and dua. You hear your local imam give a khutbah about building a home on faith, not fantasy. Even a stranger makes a passing comment about marriage, and somehow it feels like it's meant for you. It's as if Allah is repeating the word through every corner of your life. Marriage. And yet, you're not afraid anymore. Not irritated, not defensive, not ashamed, not tired of the topic. Instead, something inside you responds with a quiet, steady whisper. Maybe I'm ready. This is a shift. One you didn't force. One you didn't plan. One that came from inside. Because before, marriage felt like a race you were losing. Everyone else seemed ahead. Engaged, married, building lives, posting perfect photos. You felt like you were constantly being left behind. You counted your age. You counted the rejections. You counted the years since your last serious conversation. But now, you don't count anything. You just trust. You're not asking, "When will it be my turn?" anymore. You're saying, "Ya Allah, whenever you decide, I'll be ready." That calm, that surrender, it's not a sign of giving up. It's a sign of spiritual maturity. It means your desires have been purified. Your expectations have been reset. Your heart has been softened, not by the world, but by Allah. And when you hear someone joke about your wedding, you don't flinch anymore. You smile, not because you're being polite, but because you feel peace at the idea, not fear, not doubt, not comparison, just calm. You start picturing the kind of home you want, not just the kind of wedding. You think about what kind of person you want beside you, not how they look, but how they pray, how they forgive, how they listen, how they help you stay close to Allah. You begin to ask a deeper question. What kind of spouse do I want to become? Because now you know, marriage isn't about completing you. It's about joining you. Two people doing life together, with intention, with discipline, and with mercy. You dream of waking up for Fajr together, of holding hands through trials, of raising children who know Allah before they know the world. You dream of disagreements handled with patience, not pride, of apologies made quickly and forgiveness given freely. You want growth, not just chemistry, peace, not just passion. And that mindset, it's not fantasy, it's faith. Because true love in Islam isn't loud, it's not always poetic, it's often quiet, steady, rooted in prayer, and rich in tawakkul. So when you keep seeing signs, when marriage keeps coming up again and again, don't ignore it. Don't dismiss it as coincidence. It may not be a neon sign from the heavens, but it's Allah whispering, "I'm preparing you. It's getting closer." Maybe your surroundings haven't changed, but you have. You're no longer waiting with anxiety. You're waiting with readiness, with trust, with peace. That's the sign. That's the proof. Because when Allah is about to write love into your story, He doesn't just send the person, He prepares the heart. So if lately the word marriage doesn't scare you, if it makes you smile softly, if it feels like something sacred rather than something stressful, know this: you're not just waiting for marriage, you're welcoming it. Not because the world told you to, but because your soul is finally aligned with divine timing. And when love written by Allah finally arrives, it won't bring confusion. It won't feel rushed. It will walk in with calm, with intention, and with a kind of peace you've already been practicing in silence. Strengths, emotional honesty. It acknowledges the loneliness, the ache of waiting, the fear of loss, and transforms them into moments of divine nearness. Spiritual alignment. Your focus on deen, akira, and character over aesthetics and fantasy makes this incredibly mature and rooted in Islamic values. Natural progression. Each sign builds on the last, starting from letting go, moving through stillness, and culminating in readiness. This creates a beautiful narrative arc. Suggestions for refinement. 1. Break into sections. O. For readability and reflection, consider separating this into clearly titled sections. For example, Sign 1. You're learning to let go with trust. Sign 2. The silence isn't empty, it's preparation. Sign 3. Marriage no longer scares you. Sign 4. Istikhara brought peace, not signs. Sign 5. You're focused on the akira, not just the aesthetics. Sign 6. You've stopped begging for control, you've started trusting. Conclusion, you're not behind, you're aligned. Oh, this will help the reader emotionally and spiritually absorb the reflections, rather than feeling overwhelmed by one long stream. 2. Consider light repetition edits. Oh, phrases like quietly but powerfully, subtle but sacred, and he removes to make room appear in different forms throughout. These are beautiful, but occasionally condensing or varying. The structure will keep it fresh. 3rd, final paragraph refinement. O. The last few lines are powerful but lengthy. Consider breaking them into shorter reflections to maximize their emotional impact. For example, you are not behind, you are not forgotten. You are on the divine timeline, where nothing is late and nothing is lost. Optional additions. If you ever expand this into a book chapter or series, consider adding a short dua at the end of each section that reflects the message. Etaitoji for letting go, for readiness, for trust. A brief Quranic ayah or hadith that aligns with each stage, for deeper connection and anchoring in revelation. Would you like this structured into a full spoken word piece or script? Given the way your writing flows, this would make a phenomenal spoken word video, podcast episode, or a series of Instagram reels or carousel posts. Here's how I can help shape it depending on your goal. Option 1. Spoken word format, video at podcast script. punctuate your voice with emotion and pauses. Add rhetorical beats for delivery. Suggested audio pacing, visuals, or music cues if helpful. Option 2. Social media series reels, carousels, threads. Break it down into digestible posts, each ending with a dua reflection or prompt. Create a sign 1 to sign 7 post sequence leading up to this final message as a spiritual call to action. Final post, say it with me, Ya Allah, I trust your timing. Call to engage. Option 3, mini ebook or digital journal. Turn it into a PDF with reflections, prompts, and duas. Include soft space for journaling, e.g., how is Allah softening your heart today? Ideal for newsletters, retreats, or as a free download. If you'd like, I can start formatting the entire piece, beginning from your earlier signs to this closing call, into one cohesive, beautifully flowing script or design format. Just tell me which output you'd like. Spoken word script, social media series, mini ebook, PDF, or something else entirely. Would you like me to begin preparing that now,